Det här fredagsmagasinet börjar vid vår hemmastation i London, Marylebone Station, och den korta tågresan, 23 minuter för att vara exakt, ut till High Wycombe. Det ligger en bit utanför, nordväst om London, utanför Wembley, om ni har koll på kartan. Vi är på väg till stor, folklig, klassisk FA Cup-omgång, den 3:e i början av januari. Vi är på väg till Wycombe Wanderers, till League 2-klubben, alltså motsvarande division 4-nivå, som tar emot hemma på lilla Adams Park från Premier League Aston Villa. Men det är ju jumbo-klubben i Premier League som vi koncentrerar oss på den här gången. Det är ju så att vi också är på väg till en av Englands stora fotbollskriser just nu. Lite i skymundan av allt vad Manchesterklubbarna, Chelsea, Tottenham och Arsenal pysslar med, så är en av de riktigt stora på väg att rasa ur Premier League vid sidan av den här FA Cup-omgången. Aston Villa, en av de riktigt klassiska klubbarna, är på väg att verkligen åka ur med dunder och brak. Så på sätt och vis, visst, vi är på väg till festen, men ännu mycket mera krisen. Välkomna till det här avsnittet som vi kan kalla motgångens pris, Wenström. Utanför Wembley var det. Det är jäkligt att behöva åka baklänges. Men man får ta en del i det här jobbet.
Well, I think we've got to the point now where the season's lost, and it's really about planning for next season.
Do you think it'll be in the championship?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
No hope?
No.
Surviving this year?
No, it's too much of a gap. And we've only won one in 20-odd games, so we've got no chance.
Been a very difficult season this season. I think it's going to be very difficult to stay up and survive, to be perfectly honest, with one win all season. So hopefully we can have a good cup run as well and sort of maybe build for next season.
What's your feelings?
I'm very disappointed, but it's not unexpected. It's been on the cards for a while. The last few years been very lucky, and now everything's just happening now.
We've got an owner that keeps his distance. If he was to come out and say what his plans are, I think it would make things a bit easier at the club, because everyone's in the dark. It seems like there's a lack of interest, a lack of investment, and we're going down. There's no two ways about it. And we wonder, will there be investment when we go down? Because if there isn't, we could go down further. So it's dark days for the Villa at the moment, I'm afraid.
Trying to solve the situation with 4 beers?
Hopefully it will soften the pain.
Okay. Hopplöst läge i ligan. Viss röststyrka och kraftsamling för att det är cupchans och ett sånt äventyr när det gäller Aston Villa. Det är verkligen inte vilken klubb som helst som är så här sårad och mår så här illa. Birmingham-klubben har spelat fotboll i 141 år och var en av dem som var med och formade ligasystemet, den första fotbollsligan 1888 i England. 105 år av alla de där säsongerna har Villa spelat i högsta divisionen. Var en av de klubbar som var med och grundade Premier League 1992 och har inte sedan dess åkt ur en enda gång. Inte än.
Your match day scarf.
Then was getting off first. Don't worry. Kuna, look at him.
Från södra delarna om Birmingham, Bromsgrove, Villa Lions. Här är Phil och Duncan, de följer den här klubben hårt. Have you seen a lot this season?
We've seen a hell of a lot of games. Phil and I and the supporters club, we've been to home and away games all over the country, and we've seen the one and only Villa win so far in the league. So it's been a hard season.
So what do you make of this?
At the moment it's very disappointing. We brought in Remy Gard as the manager. I think he's really struggling. He doesn't know the league. He was only a pundit. We've got Randy Lerner who wants to sell the club, so he won't put any investment in. We've got Tom Fox who's come in as the chief executive, and I think he's struggling as well. So overall it's a very disappointing season.
But it's not this season only. The past years, what do you make of that?
It's actually been building up for the last few years, to be honest. There's been a severe lack of investment in the club, direction for the club, and they seem to want to do things on the cheap, get loads of unproven low league players in, and well, last season lots of unproven players from the French league, and the gamble just hasn't paid off. And Randy Lerner obviously wants to just sell the club, but do it on the cheap as well. But I don't think he understands that. It's not like not MLS, sorry, the American football, the Not soccer, but the American football. There's no relegation in their leagues, but I don't think they understand how big it is if you get relegated from Premier League and how much money you lose. I don't think he grasps it. He just wants to do it on the cheap and just keep his fingers crossed that things will work out, and I don't think they will.
You don't think? No hope?
I was looking for some hope before Christmas, but at the moment I don't think there's any hope at all. We've got beaten by all the bottom teams around the league, and we're just playing absolute rubbish football at the moment. They've lost all the confidence. I was hoping the manager would have picked them up, but it hasn't happened.
Några påminnelser till om vilken klubb det är som har misskötts så rejält under flera säsonger. Aston Villa har vunnit ligan 7 gånger, FA-cupen lika många gånger. De är en av 5 engelska klubbar som har mäktat med att ta hem den finaste turneringen i Europa, antingen Champions League eller Europacupen. För Villas del var det Europacupen 1982. Numera är det en helt annan verklighet. De 5 senaste säsongerna är det en tabellplaceringsrad som inte liknar en sån här klubb. 16, 15, 15, 17 och nu 20. Det är verkligheten för Villa.
The team we got now, it's made up of players that are they're not good enough for the division that we're in. If you buy enough championship players, you get championship football. These lads, you know, the fact that they've only won 1 game all season, we've gone 20 games without a win. That doesn't bode well. We've come up against championship sides and lower sides in the cup over the years. We were the first top flight side in history to be knocked out by a 4th division side over 2 legs. We lost against Sheffield United, we lost against Orient, we lost at Millwall. We go down, this is going to be like the 3rd division all over again. All these little sides that have never been to Villa Park, they're going to want to put a show on for their fans. It'll be like a cup final for those. And everyone's going to want the scalp of Aston Villa.
Doug Ellis turned it around once. Who can change it this time?
We need a new owner before. We need somebody to come in, a big injection of cash, somebody that's got his heart and soul in it.
Is it about the ownership? What do you think?
It's a lot to do with the ownership. There's certainly a lack of investment. So we say we've been flirting with relegation for the last 4 years, ever since Martin O'Neill left. We've had a change of managers and it's just not working at the moment. We'd like somebody to come in and take over the club and invest in it.
Yeah, I totally agree with what Phil says. It basically stems from the owners and all the people at the top of a club running it downwards. If you haven't got the support above you and the investments in the club, you know, you're really struggling as a manager to try and get the best out of, you know, not Premier League players, to be honest.
If you were a boss or owner, not for 1 day, 1 year, what would you do?
I think we need an entire new squad of proven quality. All players that will have the quality, but there's just a severe lack of talent there. I think if and when we go down, there won't be many players and not many teams wanting our players kind of thing, because the quality just isn't there throughout the entire squad. We need a whole revamp throughout the club really, and players, management, ownership, throughout the whole senior management of the club, it all needs to change as well.
But isn't the history, you have Jack Grealish, and isn't the history important?
The history is very important to us, but at the moment our history is going down the pan. The players we've got, they just aren't good enough. Unfortunately, everybody raves about Jack Grealish and players like that. I see him every week. He isn't the done deal. He's nowhere near the done deal. And the players they brought in from the French league, they don't know the Premier League. They're really struggling. We need players with Premiership experience, proven Premiership experience. We've invested in players that I think they've invested in to sell on if they do well in the Premier League.
Aston Villa är som många andra Englandsklubbar utlandsägda. Det var amerikanen Randy Lerner som 2006 köpte in sig och tog över klubben och radade upp några sjätteplatser. Men sen har det bara gått utför. Ointresse, okunskap, Martin O'Neill, orsakerna är många och det beror på naturligtvis vem man frågar vad svaret är. Men resultaten är sämre, konstant, både i tabellen och i redovisningsböckerna. Och sen snart 2 år tillbaka är Aston Villa till salu att köpa för den som är intresserad. Why is it like this?
It's a number of reasons. Selling all the best players over the last few years. And not investing into the club, lack of people managing the club who know anything about football as well. So,
do you see any hope?
I still think there's always hope, and I don't actually think we're definitely relegated yet. It's just going to be very, very difficult, and if we are, we've got to rebuild and make sure we come back up a reasonably solid team.
When Mr. Lerner came in, it was a breath of fresh air. There was money to be spent. We were riding high. Unfortunately, I think he believed too much in Martin O'Neill. And Martin O'Neill was given far too much rope, and not only has he hung himself, he's hung every manager thereafter.
In what way? Explain.
Well, Martin O'Neill was allowed to go out and buy who he wanted. By all accounts, he dictated what the transfer fee was, what the wage was, length of contract. Not many managers have that sort of power. And he was buying players left, right and centre. A lot of them were excessive transfer fees. They weren't getting played, sorry. So you get the owner looking at a bench of lads who's on big money, never getting played. So he reined it in. So when Martin O'Neill was told he couldn't have any more money to spend, he walked out at the worst possible time for the club. And ever since then, every manager that's come in has been working in severe restraints. And this is the fallout of that. This is the result of it.
So you still blame Martin O'Neill for this situation, and Randy Lerner.
Randy Lerner doesn't know about English football. He's come in. For some reason, the media like Martin O'Neill. I think Martin O'Neill thinks he's almost the reincarnation of Brian Clough, and for whatever reason, Lerner was more than happy to back Martin O'Neill's judgment. We were far better under Doug Ellis. Now, before Doug Ellis sold up, a lot of these fans were calling for Doug Ellis. The bloke bleeds claret and blue. You just can't deny it. And I heard for myself. I feel for Doug Ellis. He came in and saved Aston Villa in 1968, and he's put his heart and soul into this club, and we're just going to go down. We might never come back up.
Håll utkik efter Unibets nya spelmagasin Av spelare för spelare, där jag, Thomas Wilbacher, och spelanalytikern Daniel Olenklint analyserar och ger de bästa spelförslagen i Europas toppligor och för all del även Champions League.
Missa inte det.
Det här är året då Premier League-klubbarna kliver in i en helt ny verklighet. Världens redan rikaste liga, sett till helheten, blir ännu mycket ytterligare rikare. i nästa TV-avtal som börjar från nästa säsong. Det innebär plus 50% in ungefär och upp när det gäller rikedom. Och 20 Premier League-klubbar blir omedelbart i ett enda slag bland de 30 mest välmående i hela världen. Det här, trots att det finns fallskärmspengar för de som åker ur, är verkligen inte säsongen att trilla ur Premier League. This is not the season to go down.
No, definitely. I mean, from a financial point of view, definitely not. But I mean, no matter what season you go down, you look at the Championship. So many Premier League teams have gone down, never to come back up. I mean, you could look at previous years back in Premier League. You have Bradford Cities, Leeds United. I mean, Middlesbrough's down there, Derby counties. There's
plenty of them.
Yeah, and loads of teams. If you're not of a certain generation, you never ever thought they were in the Premier League because it's a bit of a graveyard of the Championship.
Are you really afraid? Are you scared of the situation?
We're very scared and afraid at the moment, yes, because if we do go down, we haven't got any players at the moment in this squad who are going to bring us up. It's a totally different league to the Premier League, and they're struggling in this league. They'll be even worse in the Championship.
It will be difficult for teams that come up to stay up because of the money, but I think you've also got to invest in right players when you do come up, and if you can get the right players and the right team ethic, I think if you can start at the first season once you come back up to the Premier League and build from there, I think you have a good chance of building.
Yeah, at the moment I went to the club and I was involved with a meeting with Tom Fox just before the FA Cup final, and he said there was Chinese coming in to invest in the club, and wouldn't it be great to take them back to the football club and show them the FA Cup? And we absolutely collapsed in that game. Since then we've just gone downhill, and I can't see what we're going to do at the moment.
What do you really feel about the situation in the league?
Well, when we appointed Remy as manager, I don't think it was the right choice. I think we should have appointed David Moyes, because he had the Premier League experience to get us out of the situation that we was in. But Remy Gard's got no experience in English football. He doesn't know how to do it, and he had no players to do it with, really, has he?
Is there no hope? No hope situation?
I always said if we won at Norwich we'd stay up, but I don't think we'll stay up now.
Will you be there? Will you be supporting the team? Will Bromsgrove Villa Lions be there for the team?
We'll definitely be there. No matter what league, we'll be there home and away next season, yeah. So,
what happens with the atmosphere among the supporters?
I mean, it's very down at the moment. And the away trips and home trips, it's just a real dour atmosphere at the moment. But we'll pick ourselves up again next season, no matter what, and go again.
Yeah, Sunderland's been the worst game so far this season. The fans really turned on the players. Brad Guzan, before the end of the game, he went walking off up the pitch. None of the players actually give any of the fans an applause at the end. They just all scurried down the tunnel. So very disappointed with that. I know at the end of the game, some of the fans confronted the players getting on the coach, told them they weren't fit to wear the shirt, and they gave them a bit of abuse. So it was very disappointing at the end of that game. Although we'd been beaten, not one player came to the away fans to clap us. I was very disappointed in that.
Motgångens pris blir högt för Aston Villa, eller de totalt 3 klubbar som åker ur Premier League just den här säsongen. Ett litet kuppäventyr till Wycombe Wanderers till exempel. Det kan ju antingen vara en slags flykt från verkligheten eller ännu ett bevis för att botten verkligen är nådd för en av Englands mest segerrika klubbar.
The support will stay. We were pulling in crowds in the 3rd division that were the envy of 1st division sides. No two ways. We've got a big strong fan base at Villa Park. We've got a proud history. When we went down in the 3rd division in 1970, we were the most decorated club in the land. It was a big thing for Aston Villa to fall. We'll go down. I just hope we can come back up.
Vad säger katten?